My name is Miya. From the day I was born, my parents told me my name meant sacred and special. My mother would lean down, stroke my hair, and whisper, "Miya, my precious star, you will shine no matter what." My father would lift me high into the air, laughing, "That's my girl, strong, brave, unstoppable." As a child, I believed those words with all my heart. They were my truth, my protection, my little piece of heaven. I grew up in a modest home. We didn't have much, but I never thought we were poor because we had laughter. I remember the smell of bread baking in the oven, my mother humming while she stirred the pot, my father coming home tired but still smiling. In the evenings, we would sit together, and they would tell me stories. My father would say, "Miya, never forget, the world is wide, and you are capable of anything." Back then, my world was warm, small, and safe. I never doubted that it would stay that way forever. But forever ended when I was 12 years old. It was an ordinary afternoon. I walked home from school, humming the same tune my mother had sung that morning. But when I opened the door, silence greeted me. No smells from the kitchen, no laughter, no voices. At first, I thought it was a game. I ran from room to room, calling, "Mom? Dad? Where are you hiding?" But the closets were empty. The drawers were bare, their things gone. I froze, staring at the empty spaces where their clothes once hung, their shoes once stood. My chest tightened, my voice cracked as I whispered, "No, no, they'll be back, they'll come back." That night, I sat on the couch, waiting for the door to open. I stared at the clock, each tick echoing in the silence. By morning, I realized no one was coming back. My parents, the people who once called me their star, had abandoned me. The days that followed were a blur of tears and fear. I clutched a small bag of clothes and wandered the streets. I was just a child, but the world expected me to survive like an adult. Strangers looked at me with judgment. One shopkeeper shouted, "Go away, street girl." A boy laughed cruelly, "Where's your mommy, Miya? Did she forget you?" His words cut deep, but in the middle of my despair, I made a promise to myself. I will not let this be my end. I will not stay broken. One day, Miya will rise. I began working wherever I could. I washed dishes until my fingers bled, carried buckets of water larger than my arms, swept floors for coins. Sometimes I went to bed hungry. Sometimes I didn't sleep at all, lying awake on a park bench with only the stars as my company. The nights were the hardest. I cried silently, whispering into the darkness, "Why did you leave me? What did I do wrong?" But the silence gave no answer. Yet even in the darkness, small sparks appeared. One cold evening, I wandered into a library just to stay warm. The librarian looked up, saw my torn clothes, and instead of pushing me away, he smiled. "Do you like books, child?" he asked gently. Embarrassed, I whispered, "I don't have money." He shook his head, "You don't need money. Just curiosity." From that day, the library became my safe place. Books became my family. Fairy tales reminded me to hope. Biographies showed me that even great leaders had once struggled. Every page whispered to me, "Don't stop, Miya. You are not finished yet." When I was 17, I learned about a scholarship exam. I was terrified. What chance did a girl like me have? The night before, I sat under a streetlight, shivering, my stomach empty, flipping through borrowed notes. A voice inside me sneered, "You're not good enough. You'll never make it." But another voice, stronger, rose up, "You've survived worse, Miya. You promised you'd never give up." When the results came, my hands shook as I tore open the envelope. "Congratulations," it read. I dropped to my knees, tears streaming, laughter and sobs mixing together. For the first time in years, I felt like I had been given a second chance. I remembered my mother's voice, "Miya, my precious star, you will shine." Maybe, just maybe, she had been right. College was not easy. I worked part-time, cleaned, served, and studied late into the night. I failed some exams, cried in empty hallways, and more than once thought of quitting. But each time, I remembered that 12-year-old girl who had sat on a park bench, vowing to rise. I couldn't let her down. By 22, I graduated with honors. As I walked across the stage in my cap and gown, I whispered to myself, "We did it, Miya. We made it." After graduation, I entered the working world. My first job was small and humble, but I treated it like a golden opportunity. I learned everything I could, saved every coin, and built connections. Slowly, my confidence grew. A few years later, I took the biggest risk of my life. I started my own business. At first, I failed more than I succeeded. I fell into debt, lost sleep, and faced rejection after rejection. Some people mocked me. You'll never make it, Miya. Girls like you don't belong here. But I smiled quietly and whispered, watch me. And I did. My business began to grow. Slowly, steadily, the same girl who once scrubbed floors now employed others. My name started appearing in magazines. Invitations to speak at conferences followed. People called me successful, but I knew the truth. Success wasn't the money or the recognition. Success was surviving every night I thought I wouldn't make it. Success was rising from the ashes of abandonment. Success was turning pain into power. And then, the past found me again. One afternoon, there was a knock at my door. When I opened it, I froze. My parents, older, weary, my mother's eyes filled with tears. Miya, she whispered, her voice trembling, we're sorry. We want to be part of your life again. My father's shoulders slumped as he said, we made mistakes. We were weak. Please, forgive us. Time stood still. The little girl inside me longed to run into their arms, to feel the love I once knew. But the woman I had become remembered the empty house, the hunger, the loneliness, the years of silence. I took a deep breath and said, I became who I am without you. I built my life on my own. I will never forget what happened, but I refuse to let anger define me. We talked for hours. There were tears, confessions, silences too heavy to break. Forgiveness wasn't easy. It never is. But I learned something. Forgiveness isn't about erasing the past, it's about freeing yourself from it. I didn't forgive them to heal their wounds. I forgave them to release my own. Today, when people ask me how I became successful, I tell them, I worked when I had nothing. I believed when no one else did. I turned my pain into purpose, my loneliness into strength. And when they ask about my parents, I say, they left me once, but life gave me the power to choose whether to let them back. That freedom, the power to choose, is what true success looks like. My name is Miya. Once, it belonged to a girl who was abandoned and forgotten. Today, it belongs to a woman who rose. Miya means strength. Miya means resilience. Miya means hope. And if I could rise, then so can you.